Okay, so here are those colors. There's Mocha Java, and then there is the not Candlelight, that is Sandstone, and then Garnet. I didn't use Sandstone Shimmer. I first grabbed just the Sandstone, so that's what I'm going to use now. Tool-wise, I'm going to use three brushes. And let me grab those. The first brush I'm going to use for my eyes is this brush. You can see that it is small. It's a very small brush. It has an angle to it, and you'll also see that it's very narrow. This is probably one of my 3 favorite brushes that I have in my beauty box. And as you can see, it's not a fancy brush at all. It is literally a paintbrush, but I love using this for the fine detail on my eyes and brows. And so I'll show you how I use that. Next, I'm going to use this brush, and it doesn't have to be this brush specifically. It's actually one of my kids' paintbrushes. That's not the one that I thought I grabbed. But the other one looks just like it. It's just a different handle. Basically, I'm going to use this brush dry. That's all that I'm going to use this for. And this is also a paintbrush. It's not a cosmetic brush. It's a good tool. It's a versatile tool. It's a cheap tool. And so I'll use that. And then lastly, I'm going to use this guy. He's a little bit thicker and wider than the one I traditionally like to use. But Ginger is in the back at the moment, and I don't want to leave her to go into the house and grab another one. So we're just going to make do with what we have. So these 3 brushes and these 3 colors. First things first, I like starting with the Garnet. Now, logistically, I am using one hand to hold the phone, and I'm using the other hand to try to work this together. Let me pause this out and see if I can get a different arrangement. Okay, let's try that. You can look at my 14 chins. Just kidding. So I'm going to use the Garnet in this angled brush. Now, I already have eyeliner on. I'm going to use this Garnet. I'm going to take the brush and just a little bit. What I love about liquid to powder eye scents, the eye shadows, is that a little bit goes a long way. You can always add more once it dries, but a little bit goes a long way. So it's a really good investment. The Shadow Scents runs $22 each, and it's an investment, and I want to get as much long wear out of my money and my investment as possible. So I actually, as you can see, already have eyeliner. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of work in just at the top of that eyeliner. I'm going to work this color in. Let me kind of work through and show you what I'm doing as I go. I don't want a thick line. Okay, see that? Come over here. Do the same thing. See that? That may not make a lot of sense to you about why I would do that, but I'll show you as time goes on how I'm going to use that to kind of get an overall look for my eye. I am going to take the same brush, and I don't want the Garnet, a bunch of Garnet on my brush when I do this. So I'm kind of the next step. So I'm kind of dabbing some of that off. And I want my brush to be a little bit dry. So take my fancy toothbrush here and brush my eyebrows up. And like I said before, I don't have great eyebrows. The they're kind of thin, and my face is also asymmetrical, which means it's not even, it's a bit crooked, and that's okay, but I'm going to use my makeup to suggest more symmetry. Let me show you how I do that. Now, I'm going to have some struggles here because my mirror is on my dash, and then the phone is down here. All right, so with the brush as it's drying, I'm going to very lightly dab along the line of my brow. And that was very, very, very light. I want my brush to be pretty dry as I do this because I don't want a bunch of product building up. And I'm literally just suggesting the outline of my brow. You see that? Now, I don't care for, personally on me, a thick brow. I want a defined brow, but I don't want a thick brow. And I'm going to let this set, and I want it to dry. And I'm going to come over to the other side, okay? How do I do this? I'm not going outside of the hairline. I'm actually kind of going into it. I don't want this to look like I've just drawn my eyebrows on. Okay, see that? And it doesn't have to be perfect. And clearly it's not. Okay. The point is that you get the idea. Okay, again, I'm gonna let that set and dry. I'm going to now move on and I'm going to grab the, here it is. I'm gonna grab the Mocha Java. Now again, Mocha Java comes in shimmer and non-shimmer. I am using the non-shimmer Mocha Java. Let me get repositioned here again. Just taking a little bit off of that as such. I'm going to go on my eyelid. Now, I just want a little color. I don't want a lot of color. I just want a little color. I'm going to put it on my eyelid. And as I do, I'm not stroking it. I'm like dabbing it where I want it. I've cared about beauty and cosmetics ever since I can remember, not unlike every other little girl. But one of the things I've learned over time is that one really needs to be kind to their skin at all times and in all respects. There are some things we can't avoid, like the pregnancy mask that we get after having babies, and the fact that our children pull on our face and whatnot. But as far as what we can control, let's be kind to our skin and not pull on it too much. So I'm kind of dabbing this where I want it. Everyone's eyes are different, totally different. And so how we shadow our eyes are going to be different. If you don't know how to shadow your eyes to best kind of flatter your eye shape and face shape, that's super easy to like Google how to do makeup on different eye shapes. And the first thing you look at is you look in the mirror and you look at the diagrams online, and they'll give you some suggestions. Okay, so my garnet on my eyelid is pretty dry, but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm taking that same little brush and I'm gonna like sweep it up. I don't want a hard line. You see what I'm doing? I'm taking that line that I created and I'm just gently sweeping it up. And I'm blending it with the mocha that I already put down. You see that? Do you see that difference? One is a hard line. One has been blended. I like that blended look. Okay. Come back over here, do the same thing. And I'm just sweeping it a little bit, feathering it up. See that? There's some shadowing in the van. Clearly the sun's coming over here and it's not over here. So there's some discrepancy there. All right. Next, we're going to take the, where did I put you? We're going to take the sandstone. This one is not the one with the shimmer in it. Taking that same brush that I had before, that I used to put the mocha on, I'm just kind of wiping it off a little bit. That's going to be one I kind of prefer. I'm going to prefer to use when I'm applying the sandstone. Taking just a little bit off. That's probably even more than I need. I like that sandstone for me because I'm very pale, very light complected. Is just a little bit of a flesh tone, but a little lighter than a flesh tone. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna just sweep it up and kind of push it up in the arch of my eyebrow. And I'm gonna pull it down to the inside of my eye. Standard beauty tips suggest that you pull the light color into your eyelid because that opens up your eye, okay? So I have that. I've just kind of gently laid it in there. Now I'm gonna just work it in a bit. This liquid to powder eyeshadow is super great because it is versatile, but because it's long wearing, as you first apply it, you have about 2 minutes that you can work with it until it's dry and it's set. And once it's set, it pretty much doesn't move until you take it off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be very gentle. Something you may or may not notice is that Mocha Java is just very lightly blended here, and I have very lightly have a line of it with the sandstone, okay? I'm gonna let it sit there a second and go on to the next eye, and then I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with that clean, dry brush, okay? Just a little bit. Ooh, baby, just a little bit. Okay. Just a dab will do it. Bring it to that eye to open that eye up a bit. I'm gonna let it sit. Okay, we're gonna let it sit and dry. So now my brows, that line, that garnet that I used along my brow is dry. So I'm gonna take my toothbrush again, which clearly I've used a few times, but I'm just gonna brush that out a little bit to loosen those hard lines. See that? Yeah, baby. No hard lines. I didn't draw and fill in my brows. I created the illusion of a brow. And take that sandstone again and just kind of clean up any edges that do seem hard or don't seem appropriate. Because again, I want subtle. I like a more of a natural look. I like neutrals. Like, let's enhance the natural. Then last but not least, that sandstone has set for a minute or so. And so I would take, there it is, my dry brush, and right where that Mocha Java and the sandstone are meeting, I'm going to take my dry regular paintbrush and I'm just going to go along that edge because I don't want a definite line. I don't know if you can see the difference or not. Go over here. So that's nice. If you feel like this is still a little harsh, go back with your brush, a dry brush. You can comb that out a little bit. I don't really feel like I have that problem today, but nonetheless, I can do that. And there we go. I think that's soft. I think it's warm. It's not harsh, but it is something. And it took me a long time to show you how to do that today, because I'm long-winded. I'm in the van. I'm not very coordinated. I'm definitely not tech savvy. So, you know, anyway, that's using the Shadow Senses, Garnet, Mocha Java, and Sandstone. The Mocha Java and Sandstone do come in a shimmer version, and I do have that available. But today I didn't. I used just the matte versions. So thank you. Have a great day. You look beautiful, women. Bye.